Hey, welcome back to the channel. And in today's episode, I've got another smoothie for you, and today's is an absolute belter. This is a classic that's going to put a kickstart into your morning. So as a base, we are always going to use a banana. It gives it a bit of body and also gives you that potassium and magnesium that you're struggling to get from other foods. Now, if your bananas look a bit like this, like mine, gone a bit brown, not very exciting. And if I was to eat this, if I was going to peel this and eat it, it would be a bit soft and mushy, and just nobody wants to eat that. So rather than throwing it away, if you chop it up into slices and put it into a bag in the freezer, it will look like this, frozen banana. And this is absolutely perfect for making your smoothies because it gives you all of the ingredients, but also it reduces the temperature of your smoothie. It makes it nice and chilled. So it's great to eat. So that's the first thing we're going to put in there. That's just our base. But today we're going for something much more exotic. So I've got some mango. Now I've actually bought frozen mango from the supermarket. So this wasn't mango that I bought and then chopped up because that's just too much effort for anybody. Slicing a mango and they've got those weird shaped stones in the middle, nobody wants to be doing that. And also frozen mango is cheaper than buying fresh mango because obviously the manufacturer can freeze it on site so they don't have as much wastage. And once again, this is great because you've still got all of the nutrients and everything that you want in there, and it's going to cool your drink, but it keeps much longer in your house. So we'll throw the mango in there as well. So we've got mango and banana. Now, to make this really exotic, we're now going to add some pineapple. Now, once again, you can get frozen pineapple. It just so happens that I've got some fresh pineapple here today. So some of this will be going in the freezer if I don't eat it. So we'll put some of the fresh pineapple in there as well. And there's a little bit of juice that's going in there. So that's going to add to the flavor. So I've now got my pineapple, mango, and banana. And I'm now going to add some coconut milk. So this is making it very exotic. So in previous videos, I've added water. We're going to add some coconut milk. It's going to give it a bit more body. It's not dairy, so obviously if you're vegan or lactose intolerant, that's fine. I'm just going to fill this up to the line to get the maximum. I always like to go for the maximum. If I'm going to go to the effort of making a smoothie, I want to make sure I get more than half a drink out of it. So I filled it up to the maximum for my nutribullet. Now, I've got a secret ingredient here just to give it an extra bit of zing, just to put a bit more zip into it. And it's lime juice. Now, you could obviously use a fresh lime. I don't have any fresh limes at the moment. If I did, I would use that. So I'm just using a bottle of lime juice. You can get this in supermarket, really inexpensive. Really great to have in your house just for cooking and general purposes. But if we just take the lid off that, I'm just going to put a splash of that in there. It's just going to lift it a little bit. You won't be able to taste it as such, but it will give it that little bit of extra zip, bit of zing. So here's all the ingredients before they are going into the blender. Now let me make sure I put my blender on nice and tight because I don't want to get any splashback. I don't want to start having to change my t-shirt. There we go. Let's give it a whiz. Now with the frozen ingredients, it can take a little bit longer to actually blend the fruit because obviously it's harder and so it takes a bit more for the blades to get through it. I'll lift this up a little bit so you can see it. Should have changed the camera angle, but just as good. There we go. So it's now looking very yellow. Obviously it will do because I put a lot of yellow ingredients into it. So that looks like it's pretty much done to me. Right. Give it a shake. Yeah, it's looking liquid. That's always the acid test. If you're using frozen ingredients, shake it before you undo the lid and you can see whether or not it's liquid enough. Sometimes if you put too many frozen ingredients in, it can go into a bit of a paste and then you either have to wait for it to defrost or add a bit more liquid. You can add a bit of water just to let it down. But let's get this out and see what it tastes like. Here we go. Let's pour myself a nice cup. So you can see that's nice and thick because of the frozen ingredients. It becomes a little bit like a slushy. If you remember the slushies that you used to get when you were younger, or frozen drinks, it's not quite frozen, but it's a bit thicker than it would do. If I let this reduce back to room temperature, it would be thinner, but you can see when I'm stirring that, it's actually quite thick. It's quite a thick consistency, and that isn't because I've put too much fruit in, it's because it's slightly chilled, so slightly frozen. So let's taste this. Oh, that is absolutely fantastic. Now, interestingly, I can taste all of those different ingredients. So The initial flavour is more banana-y, so it starts off quite banana-y. Then you get the infusion of mango and pineapple, so it gets a bit more exotic. It tastes a little bit like a cocktail. If you're on the beach, this is the sort of thing, maybe pina colada-ish. And then that lime juice that I've added does give it that extra little bit of lift. So here we are. This is the mango, pineapple, banana with a touch of lime, coconut milk smoothie. Great start to your day, no carbohydrates. This is going to be slow release energy. It's going to give you that nice feeling all day where you're not hungry, but you've got enough energy to getting on with. You don't get the spikes that you get from having carbohydrates and bread for breakfast. This is something that I think would really give you a great start to the day. So thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll see you again on the next smoothie.